The reason why I believe that Konosuba is so good is because of its outro. I know it sounds weird, but hear me out. The whole bit of Konosuba is like, oh, it just takes a bunch of tropes and then flips it over. The characters are actually flawed and aren't actually perfect, and not all of them are addicted to the thing of the sausage of the main character. No, they rather bite it off when he shows it. uh, it's a pretty good anime, but the reason why I like it so much is probably because of the outro. The outro itself is like melancholy. It's like pure melancholy, you know. I don't know, it sounds weird that I'm using deep words and it's trying to make me look smart, but there's a good reason to it. It feels happy and childish and sad at the same time. It's like you're moving on to being an adulthood, yet it's stuck at that in between. Like it's like a teen, but before your teen or after your teen as well. Like it's in that middle. An artist can use anything in their medium and makes it work. It doesn't see the flaws in it, and instead he sees the flaws as an opportunity, a way to make it better, something to make it more than what he could even make without that part of the medium. People nowadays, they complain about their flaws or skills, but flaws is a part of the human being, and if you don't know how to use it, you don't know how to live life yet. You gotta learn how to use your flaws. Everything you are is you, and you should be proud of it. And that's why artists who use everything in their medium, like the intro and outro of an anime, the comic, every single page of the comic, the lines in the comic. There's so many fourth wall breaks in comics. Like there's this French one where he literally uses the panels to his advantage. Like he hits him up at the top and he hits the robot on the top. And you know, in the last page he was kind of defenseless, and it just so happened that there's no more. He had no weapon. That's like his superpower. He breaks the fourth wall of comics, and if you put it out of the comic, it's not gonna work. That's his thing. And Deadpool with this fourth wall break, and Chowder with the whole thing, with the whole stick of fourth wall breaks. If an artist can use everything and makes it into a weapon, or even worse, something that can save humanity just by being itself, just by using every bit of the medium, you got yourself a really good bit. That's why I love Konosuba's outro. Even after the whole show is ended, there's no more stories, the characters aren't even speaking, they're just being animated with the song. It feels like it's add more flavor to it. It adds more meaning to it. Like the song itself is about like a bunch of children having fun, or spoiled, or well, to be more exact, a child who's spoiled and did something wrong, and so she's gonna come back to the house after she just ran out, and the fact that it's being sung by the trio or the main girls in Konosuba just adds more to it, because it feels like it adds to the fact that they're a bunch of kids. Like Darkness hasn't grown out of the fact that she's, you know, and Megumin with the whole bomb stick and Aqua being Aqua, and Kazuma with, well, basically acting like the parent of the whole thing, but also being a child as well. Like he thinks that, oh, I deserve this, I deserve that, because I'm the main character, or I did this whole thing, even though he has so many other skills. Like he tries to use there's actually a spoiler alert. There's a time when he tried to abuse this loophole that he can get so many skills, but then it turns out those skills will be as useless as the user, because it turns out you need more experience with that skill in order for it to be good. But since it's not good, it came out crappy or useless. And that basically shows like Konosuba actually shows a lot of meaning behind it. There's the whole bit that Kazuma actually symbolizes what it means to be a jack of all trades, but and the whole trio of the girls shows what is better than the master of none, which basically what they are. One's good at healing, one's good at attack, one's good at defense, but they all suck in everything else. And that's why Kazuma is like the leader. He has all of the skills and knows what and when to use it, because he's kind of clever like that. And the whole outro really just adds more to it. Like it's gonna start to sound gloomy, but I watched Lumisano, so yeah. It's like after death, like even after death, there is a story. Even after there's black and you're not moving, you could feel that there is still a story being told, and you know that you are still part of that story. No matter how much you look, you won't be able to see it, but you're still part of that story. And it just comes to show that the outro is beautiful. You should watch it. I'm gonna link in the description below on Gora singing it, because I'll be honest, Gora's is better. Just kidding. I just like Gora shrimp. And that's why it's so beautiful, you know? It just seems so happy at the first outro, and then at the ending it's like it just really piles down. Like there's a bunch of animes nowadays with outros that are sad, but this hits differently. This hits deep, like it's trying to say something even after the show's ended. And that's why I believe that Konosuba came out way better than other animes, even though other animes have better stories, better character development, better everything. But the problem is, the reason why they lack is because the outros and the intros are mundane, or they are catchy, but they don't add to the story. And that's why Konosuba, even though it has lackluster character development, bad story, and one of the reasons why it's such good is, like I said earlier, has character flaws and not always perfect. And yet it feels like it's better than a lot of the animes, because it talks about the story afterwards. And it shows that even though these comedians or these jokes are basically the worst trio, they're still they're still like a family, and they help each other out. I really like this. I'm gonna try to focus on this more often now, because I don't usually get to talk about this with anyone. So this was so far what my YouTube channel is gonna be. When I see something I like and I'm just brought aback by it, like Little Nightmares 2, I'm gonna talk about it more often. So yeah, in conclusion, there is no conclusion, but you are still part of that conclusion. See you later, and thanks for listening. Bye.